So, meine Damen und Herren.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's 11:14, so let's start now also with my practical impulse. Welcome to this last practical impulse of the German Prevention Congress 2022. I'm going to show you my project. Durchstarten nach Corona, so to start up again after the COVID-19 pandemic, so the takeoff after Corona, that's including municipalities and also very different realities. First of all, so I'm going to give you an idea where we're active. So in the constituency, which is around Stuttgart, so with the 31 municipalities, and then we have also some other towns, so we can hear also then the name of a town which is also famous because of the terrible amok attack, and altogether we have a series of municipalities that work all together for this initiative. So our association was founded 36 years ago, and our goal is, of course, an information of the population about security and initiation and the support of prevention projects, as well as then prizes for citizens. So we wanted to implement and wanted to improve the security feeling of the population. Very short overview within these 25 years of our work. So we all worked with prevention, and so with that at the beginning, so we had a pilot project, and then there were some other projects that have then carried out as kind of sustainable over the time projects. Our beginning situation, we had the problem of the Corona pandemic, and all different consequences were evident by everyone, and so we saw that this has impacted the society and the daily life quite a lot, but particularly so than in rural areas where there's no work. We need, of course, to have some extra offers for municipalities and also then for other kind of associations. And the people then felt isolated, they wanted to go back to their normal life, particularly so, as I said, where there's not so much work. We need to have a recover this kind of municipal offers. And then we have this overview that shows you where we have all the official public points. They all active, particularly in some municipalities where actually we do not have any colored points, so there are less offers. That's why we needed to work there, especially for social activities. That's why we have a program called Zukunftsmut, the courage for the future, and this is absolutely ideal in order to engage then children and also then adolescents and families, especially there when we have a need for recovery in rural areas, which means particularly for the small towns. I'd like to point out particularly something. I see that the fund amount accounts for 10,000 euros, and the duration is quite short. And so we can say that starting from May till the end of this year, we were able to use this money for these activities. So for the experts to understand that this, of course, then a kind of sport performance to carry out this kind of prevention activities. The idea now, so it resulted to understand what are, of course, things that we need to do. We have to assess the initial situation, including also the police statistics, and we have to involve then the so far available offers And we have to understand that all this kind of things had some particular effects, and this COVID-19 pandemic caused a frustration in the different environments and families. For example, where we had maybe a father working from home office, we had a kid starting. So all different activities were carried out in the same place, and this caused maybe then an increase of aggressivity. So it is a particular important also to understand different offers, so under supervision of the police initial situation. And we had also to note that we wanted to start again after Corona pandemic. This is what we wanted to do after all these disadvantages. But through this general situation, we had to understand that after the Corona crisis, we had another crisis. In these images, so you can see here, for example, new refugees waves, then increase of energy costs, and this had particular impact on the rural areas. That's right. That's the reason why we decided to establish some milestones and to take up some new measures. I'm going to give you now some examples through and our focus group was then made of police officers and also representatives of the youth work. So we had to understand, of course, that there's a kind of addiction behavior with alcohol or cannabis, and so this was going hand in hand with aggressivity vis-a-vis maybe then police officers or also maybe consultation offices. That's the reason why we decided that we had to work much more in this area, and we had, of course, to establish a workshop where, of course, then we can provide the police officers the right information, so we can talk about these new situations. We can discuss about the situation, and we can find also then possible situations that there are also then consulting and advice offers for police officers. We saw that very often the police officers were not considered in the right way, and that's the reason why now we really wanted to improve their image through this kind of workshops. And so then, of course, then they have to deal with an increase of alcohol consumption, cannabis consumption, and aggressivity. These were our offers, and this belongs also to a federal program in area prevention, as well as then transfer of information to the right police officers. The next point. So we saw, as we heard with the previous speaker, so cyber grooming, that's a new concept. So we can see that this kind of internet crime is increasing, and there's also the new phenomenon of lover boy. So this kind of young boys that are attracting girls that are going to be exploited. And these kind of areas were already there many years ago, and we wanted to protect even those times, so women and young girls. Now we have funds and we have a new concept of projects, and we wanted to create a new seminars for the all school classes, not only for girls but also for boys, and this is very important. And even the girls' seminars are going to be expanded, and so this can, of course, create a new knowledge for all the school kids. You see me here, and then that we're going over to senior population. We see here that our focus group here is senior people. So we have interactive theater, and so then we have seen that started from 2003. We have retired colleagues that are working with elderly people groups, and now they have this kind of project, this kind of interactive theater, which is including 10 different events, and this is a particular important performance for senior citizens, so retired people, and it's very important to have a reference point for elderly people, and so they can understand that this kind of police officers that have retired are also then acted as security and safety advisors. We have noted that in September we had theater performance over 4 days in 4 different pieces that were shown to elderly people, and so we have seen that this was a very good prevention against fraud for elderly people. So we could understand that elderly people were learning a lot. So there was the example of somebody that wanted to create a fraud against elderly people. That's the reason why we wanted to create awareness, and we want to also then some other support from the colleagues from Goethe's law, which is the so-called memory training for crime prevention. And we think that this is particularly important and essential for senior people, so that they also receive the possibility to be trained in that area. As for children, since 2014, we have brought then violence prevention into kindergartens, but because of costs, I have to say that there were just 8 to 10 kindergartens that could participate in that, and were just 3 hours where there was exchange, a thought, opinion exchange, where of course we could see different cultures, different nationalities. We have to focus on avoiding conflicts. We have to see that we have the publication. So we had an image book called the Streiten lernen, which means how to learn how to dispute. And so we had the possibility to further implement our programs. This is something that we carry out within our kindergartens, and this includes different kinds of activities. And then sports. Sports is also a very important issue. And so we have seen that as particular trainings for soccer, for football, soccer at midnight at the title, and there's also late night based basketball. Unfortunately, as you know, then because of the COVID-19 restrictions, so these gyms were closed. But of course, then we can continue with our projects like before. Now, something we're proud of, we wanted to understand what can we do on top of that, and so we saw that we thought that integration could be enhanced, further enhanced. We had in our constituency new families with immigration background, so these families were then approached to our municipalities, to some other families. And we had to understand that in the different elementary schools, we have to talk about integration. This is absolutely very important. We had photos and text with the families coming from the municipalities. So these are absolutely important because this shows us that you can have, of course, then different kinds of mates, different kinds of friends. So the so-called memory game, also then for refugee families and new families. And we saw that we are going to conclude the memory game, and we'll be also then happy to see the results with the different elementary school kids. And then something interesting. We have thought that now we have the football World Cup, and so then we could have a small competitions for school classes, not only the memory game, but we could have also then small goals to shoot, so the so-called ring goal shooting. This is quite interesting, and the winning school in this competition could have some new sport equipment that they could not afford so far. You see here, these classes were particularly happy, and we see that this is something that kids really appreciated. Now let's come over to the intermediate result. So you have understood, as I mentioned, from May to December. So we had just 7 months for this kind of a project, very shorter duration. So we were able to include different towns. We have different appointments, but we can see here as an intermediate results, you see that we have many focus groups that have included many people, and I think the most important factors are the ones where we can reach out for the most people, so then children and senior people. The results are quite visible. And now I'm coming now to the final assessment from my side, and I believe that in this context, with many other experts that are working for the German Prevention Congress, I think that should be also done some offers that are maybe drawing some advantages from their durability and sustainability, and so it can be done and applicable only if they have a good network. And this is a good opportunity from our association to say that we are not going to conclude our funding project at the end of the year, but we have to continue also within the municipal crime prevention. So this option is only possible through the so-called initiative Sicherer Landkreis, Rems-Mur. And so this project will have also then financial possibilities in order to continue such activities. And as a conclusion for all of you, if you want, of course, also to deep dive this kind of presentation, this project is a very classical example of what you could do if you do not know what a prevention association does. You can understand through these projects that we need really then a sustainable crime prevention at municipal level. And have come over to the end of my prevention, and so I've been okay with the timing. Now we have this section. Thank you so much.